One episode of Star Trek, Voyager Season 5 was effectively saved by Robert Duncan McNeil. McNeil played Tom Paris, a member of Voyager's main cast of characters, as well as the ship's pilot and sometimes medic. Tom was arguably the character who underwent the most growth throughout Voyager's 7 seasons. He began the show as an arrogant, misanthropic former convict who found his purpose and family as part of Voyager's crew. Although Tom's transformation was gradual, one episode of Voyager Season 5 illustrated perfectly how much he had changed. Voyager Season 5, Episode 9, 30 Days began with Tom being demoted to the rank of ensign by Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, and thrown in the brig. Through a letter to his father, Tom proceeded to relay the story of why he was once again in prison, explaining how he had violated the Prime Directive and Janeway's orders to help the inhabitants of an ocean planet save their world despite internal resistance. 30 Days is one of Voyager's best Tom Paris episodes thanks to its character study and Robert Duncan McNeil's acting, but the episode was almost very different. Robert Duncan McNeil helped create Star Trek, Voyager Season 5's best Tom Paris episode. McNeil had an influence on the storyline for 30 Days. According to members of Voyager's writing staff, the idea for 30 Days originally centered more on the ocean planet as a science fiction concept. However, the planet wasn't a strong enough hook to base an entire episode around, and when given the opportunity, it was Robert Duncan McNeil who suggested that the storyline be focused on Tom Paris. Speaking to Cinefantastique around the time of the episode's airing, McNeil detailed the story of how he influenced the changes and why he thought 30 Days was better for it. Read McNeil's full quote below. Not only was McNeil right about the story changes making the episode darker, but his idea to have Tom in the brig and the episode being told via flashback added an element of intrigue from the beginning, giving 30 Days a much stronger hook. The Star Trek, Voyager episode was effectively a mystery story, which helped keep audiences engaged and made the episode a departure from Voyager's usual storytelling style. Similarly, the episode never would have worked if its main character hadn't been Tom Paris. Why Star Trek, Voyager's 30 Days would never have worked without Tom Paris' story. The episode wouldn't have been cohesive enough to be a success. 30 Days needed Tom's character as its emotional core. The idea of the ocean planet on its own was certainly not enough to carry the episode, but even a similar storyline focused on a different character would not have worked as well. Tom's personality and connection to the episode's concept made him the perfect main character, but besides that, the real strength of 30 Days was the exploration of Tom's backstory and showing how much he had changed since Voyager's pilot episode. Tom's complicated relationship with his father had been hinted at previously, but 30 Days provided the clearest picture of their dynamic, revealing a lot about Tom as a person. Likewise, the episode saw the return of some of Tom's bad boy tendencies, but in a way that didn't make him less likable. The contrast of Tom's personality in Season 5 with the return of these traits showed that Tom's convictions had changed and demonstrated how far he would go for a good cause. Star Trek, Voyager couldn't have done better with a main character for 30 Days than Tom Paris. Sure, here's a creative exploration of how Robert Duncan McNeil, the actor behind Tom Paris. For fans, Star Trek, Voyager was a source of weekly adventure and insight into the lives of its unique crew. And among those crew members, Tom Paris stood out, a roguish, flawed, yet deeply honorable man whose story resonated with audiences. But behind one of Paris's most memorable moments, the episode 30 Days, lay the unseen influence of Robert Duncan McNeil, who brought a depth to the character that transformed this episode into an iconic moment. In 30 Days, Paris defies Captain Janeway's orders to save an underwater world, leading to a court-martial and a demotion. But what many don't know is that McNeil's own advocacy for Tom Paris's character and dedication to portraying Paris with authenticity helped shape the episode into the iconic story that fans know and love today. It wasn't just a matter of following a script. McNeil's approach to the character of Tom Paris had always been rooted in exploring the full complexity of his motivations, a desire for redemption, a deep sense of right and wrong, and an enduring need to prove himself. The seed of an idea. Initially, the episode was conceived as an exploration of Tom Paris's rebellious nature. The idea was that he would disregard orders to protect a planet he'd grown attached to, but early drafts painted Paris as hot-headed and impulsive, leaning more into a stereotypical bad boy trope rather than capturing the character's depth. McNeil saw the potential for something more profound, an opportunity to showcase Paris's growth and add nuance to his motivations. After all, this wasn't just any mission for Tom, this was his chance to prove he was capable of making morally driven decisions, even if it meant going against his captain. McNeil's vision for Paris. McNeil, who had previously experienced some frustration with Paris's portrayal as simply the ladies' man or the maverick, saw 30 Days as an opportunity to delve into Paris's deeper layers. In discussions with the writers, he pushed for Paris to be less a rule-breaker and more a man caught in a moral dilemma. He believed Paris should be a character who could look beyond Starfleet regulations if it meant doing the right thing. For McNeil, it was crucial that Paris's actions be driven by his conscience, by his profound respect for life in all its forms. McNeil's suggestions didn't stop at Paris's motives, he even proposed changes to specific scenes. In the original draft, Paris was more defiant when Janeway reprimanded him, arguing back as if he'd been justified. But McNeil advocated for a quieter, more introspective Paris, one who knew the consequences of his actions and accepted them. The result was a scene filled with unspoken tension and regret, showcasing Paris's vulnerability and sense of accountability. A character-defining moment. When it came time to film the scene where Paris is stripped of his rank and sentenced to 30 days in the brig, McNeil brought an emotional intensity that surprised even the cast and crew. It was clear this moment went beyond acting for him. This wasn't just a line in a script, it was the culmination of everything Paris had been working towards, a chance to show that he was more than his past mistakes. As McNeil delivered his lines, his voice cracked with a subtle vulnerability that was unexpected for the usually brash pilot. It was a testament to McNeil's skill that he managed to show a man who, for all his bravado, was truly haunted by his failures and determined to redeem himself. The scene between Janeway and Paris became a pivotal point in the episode. When Janeway, played by Kate Mulgrew, delivered her line, "I'm disappointed,"